Hey, I'm Perez, artist of Spider-Woman.
And I'm Karla Pacheco, writer of Spider-Woman,
You're listening to Know Her is to Fear Her.
the Spider-Woman podcast.
Hi, Jessica.
Who the hell are you?
The woman who's going to save your life.
Yes. Welcome back, Spider Babies. You are listening to Know Her is to Fear Her, the Spider Woman podcast. I'm your host, Spider Baby Ray, and I'm flying solo this time round. Just you may have noticed an absence on air. Unfortunately, Saren and I, for different reasons, have been busy. We haven't been able to schedule things up. So really, really do apologise for that. And I've found a little bit of time now. So I wanted to sneak in an episode, maybe even another one shortly after, just to kind of bring us back up to speed. Now, with Sharon away, of course, I don't want to. We're kind of going to miss the train, I guess, on what we were intending to do, which was the Road to Secret Invasion. That comes out very soon. We're hoping to cover some issues in the lead up to that, but we'll track back to it at a later date. In the meantime, whilst Saren is away, I'm hoping to potentially cover some odd left of field choices. So they're not necessarily comic book issues on Jessica Drew or Spider Woman, but they are related to Spider Woman in some way. So this time round, as you've probably seen on the tin, we'll be looking at Edge of Spider-Verse #1. It's volume 3, came out this year. It's by Team Goat. So there's your connection. Karla Pacheco and Pere. Just could not review this or discuss this. Might want to go back and chat with Saren about this as well, when we get back together, because it's such a fun issue. So I thought I'd do this for this issue episode. Whatever it's called, I always get them mixed up. So we'll get into that for sure. Before that, of course, a huge thank you to all our Spider Baby patrons. Thank you so much for your support. Look, again, apologize that haven't been able to release content as much as we'd like. And truth be told, I mean, I've announced this on my other podcast, Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. Some of you may know as well that I am expecting a second little one with my partner Reef. So in July, it's going to be even harder to do some stuff. But fear not, it's our show's not going away. It may have to take a break. I'm not sure, unless I can squeeze in some episodes here and there. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I don't know. Anything goes. We'll have to see. I might be knee deep in nappies, and a crying 4-year-old next to me, so it might be near impossible. But I will try my very best, of course. A huge thanks to Miriam, Rustin, Eric, and Jess, of course, our favourite Spider Baby patrons. And you too can become a Spider Baby patron as well if you go to patreon.com/spiderwomanpod. Go check that out for some incentives. I've still got huge plans of doing some bonus episodes, releasing some content, some more incentives for our valued Patreon members. So anyway, this episode will be a little bit short. I have got, again, being completely transparent, I have got the baby monitor here right next to me, and a slightly under the weather child. So if he does holler for me, those that will be watching on YouTube. Mind you, as well, this podcast is available free on YouTube as well. Go check it out. There should be a link in the show notes too, because when I go through the comic book, I'll put it up on the screen as well, and I'll be referring to it. So any visual references will be towards that. But yeah, go check out the video if you can as well. I know a couple of Patreon members prefer that format too, and I think it's kind of fun. So hello everyone. Yes, so I guess I should get straight into it. I don't want to miss anything. Spider Baby news. I usually lean heavily on Saren for this. I don't have anything off the top of my head. I can't remember what we spoke of since last. There were some action figures coming out, of course. Other than that, there's not much by way of comic books or comic book releases yet. So I think we're still waiting. We're still in a bit of a holding pattern for that. But hopefully something will arise sooner rather than later. So let's get into what I might do is I might share up onto the screen. Let's get into Edge of Spider-Verse. Now, what a glorious cover. You know you're in for a good time already when you have a Tyrannosaurus Rex in the Spider-Man colors. And, well, this is an interesting fact. I mean, those that have read Old Man Logan would know of a Tyrannosaurus Rex as well in the Venom symbiote. So I'll get into it. There might be a little bit of a reference to that. I'm not sure it's a direct one, but plenty of shenanigans. Let me just go through the credits. So release date May 3rd of this year, cover date July 2023. And we have art by Patrick Brown on the cover. I actually thought that was Pere. Silly me. And there are 6 variant covers. Casanovas connecting variant, Howard the Duck variant, Lashley variant, the Spider Killer variant, Virgin variant, and the Skottie Young variant. Unfortunately, I don't have that on. Maybe I can cast this up. Let me see if I can do that. One moment. Let's see. I shall just remove that, and I shall again share it. Oh, sorry, just if you bear with me just for a tick. Here we go. Okay, so this one is the Casanovas connecting variant. Looking pretty good. It's looking like old school, kind of like painted, realistic comic covers, like some sort of magazine or Dark Horse covers, and it's got a spider on the foreground as well. Looking great, Casanovas one. Then we have the Howard the Duck variant, looking pretty cool. So you've got Spider-Ham, Miles, Spider-Noir, and Gwen Stacy, or Ghost Spider there with Spider-Man, and Howard look like he's doing Quack Fu, or I think that's what it's called. Quack Fu. So, yep, if you're into that, I know Noel, a friend of the show, will be. This is the Lashley variant. Looking pretty good. Quite colourful. I like the splash of colours. Again, Ghost Spider, Miles Morales, Spider-Man in the background there. And then we have a couple of other Spider-Person variants from the Spider-Verse. I don't know their names off the top of my head, although I do recognise one of them. She featured in recently the Adjectiveless Spider-Man. Then we have, this is the Spider Killer variant. This looks great. Very kind of dark. KWL, I'm not too sure. I'll have to try to hunt that down, who does the cover to this, but it's looking great. It's almost a Doctor Strange-esque cloak, or, big collar kind of cloak, and a deadly looking spider version there. And then we have the Virgin variant cover, not dissimilar to the main cover, just, without all the text. And finally, we have the Skottie Young, inimitable Skottie Young, pretty fun there. Spider-Man webbing up everyone. This time around it's Silk, Ghost Spider, Miles Morales, and Spider-Ham. Nice and bright, just a nice matte yellow background. Looks pretty good too. So, those were the covers. Let me see if I can, with this technology, get this thing back up. Apologies again. This is not really good for audio podcasting entertainment. There we go. Yeah, so... Oh, and now I have... now I've just... I closed down the window with all the information on there that I was meant to get. So let me just type this in. Okay, so as I mentioned, those are the covers. Now, if we go into the credits, so this is the story. It's called Enter Kravertooth the Hunter. Writer Karla Pacheco, penciler and inker Pere, awesome art. Colorist Antonio Fabela. Letterer is VC's Joe Caramagna, and editor Nick Lowe. Now, there is also another follow-up, a second story. I might as well give the credits to that here, although I won't discuss it too much in depth because, one, one-eyed I am. I like the first story a lot better. And two, it was a little bit, I might have to reread it. It was a little bit hard to follow. Maybe I just wasn't paying too much attention. But the second story is called Curse of the Spider Killer. Writer Xander Cannon, penciler Guillermo Sana Bauza, and inkers Guillermo Sana Bauza as well. Colorist Rico Renzi, letterer again VC's Joe Caramagna, and again editor is Nick Lowe. So yeah, plenty of fun there. So this cover I love. So I guess what I'm going to do, I'm not going to go through panel by panel. I'm just going to go through points, and then I'm going to score it. The typical thing that kind of Sarah and I usually do. And I want to say off the bat that I absolutely love this. I kind of knew what I was getting into, but then again, I didn't. Like, I knew it was going to be kooky, of course, because the premise is a bit kooky. Which, by the way, I haven't written up synopsis. It's basically Spider-Rex saves the day against, first of all, Kravertooth, which is like Kraven the Hunter, and then we take a bit of a 180, and he's up against a Venom symbiote. But yeah, overall, I just really loved it. I thought that the humor was typical Karla. It was spot on Karla. For those of you that have listened to us chat with Karla and know how she rolls, a lot of really bad, not bad as in funny, I'm talking about really bad puns inserted here, and they just flowed. And I imagine Pere was loving this because the artwork, I guess, reflects that. There's a lot of really funny stuff here. Even referencing, we're talking about some dinosaurs, and I know it's weird. I know a fair bit about dinosaurs because any toddler gets really right into it. So I immediately recognized the Pachycephalosaurus, which is J. Jonah Jameson. He's called a Jung Kingosaurus, I think, but not going to correct him. I just thought it was all part of the fun. Yes, and anyway, it was just hilarious. I actually didn't want it to end. I thought, ironically, at one stage, I thought, oh, this is so much fun. I hope it's not ending like soon. So you know how you usually look, if you're bored of something, you usually look at see how much longer you have to go. I was actually looking just to make sure that it was still going for a long time because I knew there was a backup story, Spider Killer, and I didn't want this one to end. It was a very kind of fluid storyline. And yeah, I mean, look, I'll just flick through here as well. The synopsis, it says, the Spider-Verse is safe once more. All across the web of life, spiders from every corner of the multiverse have returned to their normal lives. Today, we will follow the journeys of Spider-Rex. And look, opening page here again. I had to have a giggle because we're thrust straight into the present, and you have Kravertooth. I was trying to make sense of it first. Kravertooth's got like a gorilla's head or scalp or skinned head as his mane, and Kravertooth calls the very sophisticated word for it. I can't remember what it was. We'll get to it. But yeah, so in place of Kraven the Hunter's kind of mane that he wears around his shoulders, this Kravertooth has a gorilla's head. And look, awesome art straight away. It's not like it's hard to say. It's not like Pere is taking the mickey, because he's really paying attention to detail here for the T-Rex, albeit the T-Rex with a webbed fin at the top. I get it. It's it's funny, but yeah, everything else looks anatomically correct for what we know of Tyrannosaurus Rexes. And so we get straight away this absurd humor. So straight away they are talking after page 1. I should read the top bit because this is a bit of backstory. It's not exactly like Peter Parker. So when an arachnid alloyed asteroid collided with mild-mannered pterodactyl, Peter, P-T-E-R, Tear, Parker, Tarka, I'm assuming, during a terrifying Tyrannosaurus trampling, Peter gained the web-slinging dynamite of Spider Rex. So already a bit of a crazy premise. It's a pterodactyl who, during a stomping, got smashed with an asteroid and somehow has become a Tyrannosaurus Rex. You'll have to just bear with it, because later on we see a Brachiosaurus turn into a Tyrannosaurus Rex in the venom suit. So, but it's just so funny. So anyway, this caption finishes off. But are his prehistoric powers enough to take on the most dangerous denizen of the Jurassic jungle? And yes, so as I mentioned, this absurdity. They're ready. They're all English speaking, talking, communicating with one another, and we have this huge Tyrannosaurus Rex swinging on a web, hearing someone or a theme song being sung. So again, fourth walls are being broken. It's all kind of really, this really sets the scene. Even Spider Rex says, "Who's singing that?" As he's swinging away with these lyrics sung in the air. Spins a web, Jurassic size, super big, but somehow flies. So. And so, I mean, what usually happens here, that gets in a tizzy, we see the likes of, actually, we do get Jess in here, I should say. We see the likes of Uncle Ben and Aunt May as pterodactyls, and Jessica gets a look in here. Jessica is, this is the brilliant bit, of course. So Jessica is here, and Jessica is a spider, and we see Jessica shown there with a red spider and the yellow triangle, so we know it's Jessica for sure. Just lingering on here, so a couple of jokes there, like Kravertooth pushes, I think it's Uncle Ben, off the edge, but Uncle Ben is a pterodactyl. Says, "I can fly, you ding-dongs." So no harm, no foul there. But we see Jessica usher Aunt May away, and Aunt May refers to the huge spider as, "Thank you, Jessica. Be careful, Peter." This is a brilliant bit. Peter says, "Is cousin Jess even related to us?" And Uncle Ben says, "Not really. It's a long story." So I love that call out that, Karla nods towards, the semi kind of relationship. I'm not saying biological at all between Jessica Drew and Spider-Man, but the association they have together as spider heroes, but they're not related at all, because, Jess is nothing, like Spider-Woman has nothing to do with the origins of Spider-Man. So I love that little reference, that little Easter egg. And then, we kind of get the fight happening, and beautiful artwork here. So anyone that has listened to us talk about Spider-Woman issues by Karla Pacheco and Pere would know how innovative and how striking Pere's art can be. And this is no less, of course, had the colors of Frank D'Armata, I believe. I remember from the amazing run of Spider-Woman. This is different here. I think as I mentioned before, the colorist is Rico Renzi, but Rico Renzi does a fantastic job as well. And so we get a tussle here with Kravertooth. There's a lot of fighting. This is where a lot of the puns happen. There's one with has a cat got your tongue with Kravertooth literally grabbing Spider-X's tongue. There's what's it I'm looking at there's a Spider-Rex cat me talking to a cat, obviously Kravertooth. Cat scratch fever. What are you want me to leave you? So what happens? Spider-X trashes Kravertooth into a tree. So again, the puns fly here. So would you please go away? Would WOOD. And even Kravertooth gets into it. Are we branching out already? You want me to leave you so soon? So actually, Kravertooth's the one with all the puns. So of course, with that battle, it's really true. I mean, because this is all just for a bit of fun, of course. So you're not. I mean, you're transitioning into a story. It doesn't have to all kind of tie in and link together. So we kind of fling to J. Jonah Jameson here, the Shanosaurus. We see Mary Jane, and she's a Velociraptor, and Eddie Brock, is a Brachiosaurus, a Brachiosaurus. So again, a nice play with words as well. Everyone likes singing. They're singing about obviously Spider-Rex, and he and Kravertooth come out through the sky from the sky and unfortunately disrupt the whole party. J. Jonah Jameson always grumpy as ever, but it's always fun seeing him as a Pachycephalosaurus as well. So again, if you do know your dinosaurs, you know the Pachycephalosauruses are those with the extra thick skull and like the crowned horns or knobs and like the bald head. So I guess very apt for J. Jonah Jameson. Pretty funny. So this is kind of the start of the second bit. So the fight bumps into the party. Mary Jane, Brachiosaurus, and JJJ. And Brachiosaurus gets he gets pushed into. I mean, he's the biggest dinosaur there. I don't know how he gets pushed into anything, but he gets pushed into a black tar pit, and we all know what that black slimy goo is. Really, Peter's fawning for Mary Jane. We get a quick love interest thing happening, and then Brachiosaurus comes out of it. No longer a herbivore or a long-necked brachiosaurus weighing, the likes of 300 tons or even more. We have Brachiosaurus coming out as a Tyrannosaurus Rex with a spine, like spiked spine. Beautiful art here. I love the black and white, of course, but Renzi has used purple, like a purple and green for the background. It really pops. So we now get a Venom dinosaur, and this is where it shifts to Spider-X fighting a Venom dinosaur. The exit of Kravertooth, and now it's kind of Kravertooth, is a little bit abrupt. I think he just gets really scared and he decides to slink away. But, his purpose is done. He's had a lot of fun. There were a lot of puns with him. It was fun, that first half of the story. And so now we go into the second one. I did want to mention as well the sound effects were really cool for Kravertooth as well. Craver Leap, anything with Kraver in the name to describe anything that Kravertooth was doing was pretty funny, I thought too. So we get into the second half of the story. Awesome stuff here again. Pere, angled panels, slashing away. Spider-X slashing away at the symbiote, but not giving up. There's this kind of running joke that's built up from here. Like at the moment, Venom can't speak anything other than gra. So this all builds up to, believe me, to the final bit, which is pretty funny. But yeah, it attacks everyone from J. Jonah Jameson, and Spider-X has to save him, leaves him hanging on the tree. And then he wonders where Mary Jane is, and she has been walloped, but she's being dragged away by Venom Rex. That is all alien to Spider-X because, pun intended, because he realizes that she knows his name and he's smitten as anything because she screams out Spider-X help. It all goes into the volcano climax, and again, all Venom can do is gra. More puns here. Go. Lava her alone, you big bully. So it's typical Karla. Anyway, yep, the Venom thing bites Spider-X, has Mary Jane over a precipice with the molten lava below, threatening, and she's trying to plead with him to kind of find reason, like deep down there behind the symbiote. He doesn't, so she just bites. Dino bite. I love that, Karla. She dino bites the symbiote thread, and she goes falling. But thankfully, swooped in with his spindly arms. Doesn't know how he even. Look, sound effect here, heroic. Like, I don't even know what that sounds like. It just is heroic. I think it's brilliant. So his arms aren't the strongest, but he has very elastic, I guess, spider webs. So they almost bungee jump back up. They go past the venom creature, and here it is, Mary Jane, gra up Eddie. So because he's been saying gra the whole time, and she wallops him, and he falls. I think he does, doesn't he? He falls into the volcano. They're about to kiss. The volcano erupts. Oh, crop lights. And that's it. And it ends with J. Jameson in a little insert there as well, just spouting something. What is it? I said, knock that caterwauling off, you miscreants, and somebody get me out of this tree. So he's still hanging up there as well. So yeah, it's a very cool issue. I loved it. If anything, I would give it. I mean, the art alone is just so fantastic. It depends on your sense of humor, of course. If you're not really into the fun, kooky. Oh, I should have noticed there was actually in that explosion. I've taken it off now, but put it on here again. You can see the face of a symbiote as well. I didn't notice that just until now. It's pretty cool, almost Carnage-like. So anyway, so if you aren't into that kind of sense of humor, it may not be your cup of tea, but like it's hard not to like it. It's just really sometimes it's like cringeworthy, but it's funny cringeworthy stuff. So yeah, hats off to both Karla and Pere and Rico Renzi as well for pulling off a great job as well. As far as ratings would go, look, I think I'm going to just stay consistent with Team Goat. I'm going to give this I'll give this for what it is. Like, it's not a serious story. It does exactly what it's meant to do. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I think it was just really funny. Again, if you're not into kind of comedic like stories and comics, then obviously this might not be for you, but you can't not appreciate the art. I'm loving double negatives tonight. You can't not love what Pere has done, and Karla's just done a really fun. It almost seemed like something from Branagh or What the those sorts of comics of yesteryear. It was just a really fun, silly, third wall break, whatever, wall breaking issue. So I'll give it a 5 out of 5 over there. over anything else. Okay, well, Spider Babies, I fear I may have to depart now. Just a short, sharp episode. Again, a huge thank you to the Spider Patreon members. A huge thanks again. Look, I might have to again reassess what we do. I might freeze off a month or something because we haven't been releasing as much as I hoped, and it just doesn't feel right if you guys contribute your hard-earned cash for content that's not coming. So I'll be in touch on Patreon with all our Patreon members with that. Hopefully we can do something good there. So a big thank you once again. Next week, or not next week, I'm trying to think of next episode I am planning on, and yes, I have become obsessed, with Marvel Champions. I might do a spotlight on the Jessica Drew Spider-Woman Hero Pack. I think it's one of the most awesome decks there is. If only I had a Kiwi accent. I'm so tempted to say duck. I just did. Anyway, the Spider-Woman deck is really cool. She's so versatile. I am currently using her in a campaign, the Galaxy's Most Wanted, which I'm doing in a game night, and I absolutely love her. So I want to introduce you, Spider Babies, to the Spider-Woman aspect of this game, because if you love the character, you'd be interested. You want to know about her in this game, I'm sure. So I'll run through that. I'll run through how her mechanics work, how she's themed with the Jessica we know, and also how she works within the other components of the game, which makes her so versatile. So I'll be doing that next episode. Hopefully I can squeeze that one through somewhere too. All right, Spider Babies, it's been lovely. Another short one. Again, not another short one, a short one. Again, please check out the link if you're not watching it already to the YouTube version of this episode, and you can see the visuals or the images that I've been referring to as I've gone through Edge of Spider-Verse #1. Just to let you know as well, I went through the digital version. I do have my copy as well. So I do urge anyone, if you do love it and you are interested, go buy yourself a floppy of the version. It's still readily available. Pretty cool. It's a nice read to have in your hands. All right, Spider Babies, I think that's it from me. I'm hoping to release this very soon, and I'll sign off. As always, to know her is to fear her. Catch you later.
If you'd like to contact us with your thoughts on Spider-Woman and her amazing series, you can drop us a line at spiderwomanpod@gmail.com. We are also on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Spider-Woman Pod or To Know Her Is to Fear Her, a Spider-Woman podcast. Catch us on Twitter at Spider-Woman Daily or on Discord, Tumblr, and Podchaser. Look for all our links to our social platforms in the show notes.
We are also proud members of The Collective, a supergroup of podcasters dedicated to covering all the characters and news in comics and beyond. Search for #TheCollectiveNet on Twitter to see the latest on all the shows, or click on the link provided in our episodes to give you a list of who's part of The Collective. Finally, please consider giving us a rating on either Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. Whether it be to sing your praises or give us pointers on how to improve the show, any ratings will help cast our web further and potentially reach out to more Spider Babies out there.
Thank you so much for listening to our show. We really appreciate it. Stay tuned for our next upcoming episode, but until then, remember, to know her is to fear her.
Spider-Woman and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Material used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only, under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information, or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.